Hey everybody, welcome back. Okay, so today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. What we have here is the Crosman Dpms on the top, full auto BB gun, and underneath we have the Matrix by S&T blowback airsoft gun. Now, I wanted to compare these two guns. Now, obviously they're different types of guns, but we're just going to look at how those differences are, what are the pros and cons, which would you prefer to use for kind of like a training purpose. So let's start off with the magazines first of all. Okay, now the blowback airsoft gun magazine. One of the pros over the Crosman is that this magazine will allow you to hold 50 rounds. Okay, so you get 50 rounds in this magazine, and in the Crosman you only get 25. So there's already a benefit in training over the blowback air gun over the Crosman. If you take a look at the two guns, they both look basically like, real AR-15s. However, the Crosman is, I believe, a better build than the airsoft gun. Now let's take a look at that. Okay, it's a much sturdier build. It feels much tighter, has more weight than the blowback airsoft gun. Each has adjustable stocks, and basically they're identical in operation. Charging handles, function just like the real thing. Bolt catch release, just like the real thing. They both have all those features. However, the Crosman feels better. Feels more realistic. Feels like a stronger, sturdier build. Now I'm going to pull the bolt back here on this side, and you can see that this is not an actual bolt. You see the top of the magazine is in there, and it's kind of like a cutoff bolt there that moves around the magazine itself, around the top of it. So it's not an actual bolt. Where it differs with the blowback gun. Give me 1 second. Okay, the blowback gun we have here does have an actual bolt in it, as you can see, and that actual bolt blows back, goes back in the battery, and that's the more realistic movement of the bolt. So I would give the blowback, the airsoft blowback, an up for that one. So these two guns are both basically identical in their operation. There are some things that are a little more realistic for each gun. Again, the DPMS feels more realistic. It's heavier. It feels tighter, and the blowback gun has a good weight to it, but the weight isn't realistic. Everything else about it is realistic, but the weight is just a little bit light. Okay, so on the DPMS, we have your forward assist. Whoopsie. We have your forward assist, which does nothing, no function. It does actually move on the gas blowback gun. You can hear it. Okay, but it also does nothing either, but it does move. So that's a little more realistic. These are both very accurate guns. The DPMS obviously has the longer range. It will shoot quite a distance. I haven't actually done a distance test, but I have shot it at a distance, and I can hear it hit a tree far further than what the airsoft blowback gun will shoot out to, and it will still be accurate at that distance. Now the rate of fire, the DPMS, I believe, shoots 1,400 rounds per minute. I'm not sure about how many rounds per minute the airsoft blowback will shoot, but it's easy to see once you shoot each of these guns, the DPMS fires off those rounds much faster. Now the blowback feature on the actual the airsoft gun, you get a little more kick. It's not really realistic kick, but it's more than you get from the DPMS, and slightly less than you get with an actual AR-15. I'm going to show that a little bit later here. Where you're dealing with recoil management, you're doing much better with the blowback airsoft gun than you are with the DPMS. Another issue with training purposes, when it comes to the DPMS, after 25 rounds you're out, and unless you have another magazine completely loaded with CO2 in it and ready to go, you have to use the speed loader to get more rounds into the gun. The airsoft gun likewise, but you do get 50 rounds, so you get 25 more shots. So that would be double what you're getting out of the DPMS. Okay, so what about the propellant? Well, the DPMS takes 2 CO2 cartridges, and you can get about 200 rounds out of those cartridges. With the blowback airsoft gun, which takes the green gas, you get about 3 loads, so it's like 150 rounds that you can get out of the gas, as word, as opposed to how many rounds you can get out of the CO2. Both magazines cost about the same, although for this particular airsoft model, these magazines are hard to find. The DPMS magazines are readily available. However, the cost of CO2 cartridges are less than the cost of the green gas that you use for the airsoft gun. Another issue with the DPMS is that it has a very heavy trigger. So when you're doing double taps, you've really got to pull this trigger through. Now this is empty. I don't have any BBs in there, as you can see, and so I think I have a little bit of CO2 in there, and we're just going to see how that trigger is. It's a very heavy trigger, and you've really got to pull it the entire way. Alright, so it's a double tap with this gun is a little awkward, but you can do it, but it's a little awkward, so we'll take a look at a double tap. Okay, sorry, I forgot the BB's got to recharge. Okay, right. Yeah, I need BBs in here because for every shot, without BBs, it's the bolt will stay to the rear. So I have to put some BBs in it, and we'll do that test. With the airsoft gun, it has a much lighter trigger. Also don't have any BBs in here, as you can see, and the gun is already cleared. Okay, so you see the trigger already, it's further back. It's a shorter pull. Okay, and you can get, let's see if that returned. Normally this stays back on the last shot without BBs. Yeah, as you can see, it stayed to the rear. So I'm going to put some BBs in both, and we're going to run that double tap test. Okay, so we have our target set up here, and I'm going to be shooting from not too far. That's about 15 feet. We're going to be shooting from this distance here. I'll tell you what, we'll move further back. We'll shoot from this distance. Okay, the first gun will be the DPMS, and we're going to do the double tap. Okay, now that's a little heavy. We'll do it one more time so you can see. All right, now the next one will be the gas blowback. Okay, one more time. Okay, much better double tap with the gas blowback. Okay, so now we're going to do a full auto with the gas blowback. All right, now we're going to do a full auto with the DPMS. Give me 1 second. I got to reload the DPMS. Okay, full auto with the DPMS. Okay, so the target here shows the full auto from that distance with the DPMS on top, full auto with the airsoft blowback from the same distance. Okay, we're going to do the double tap on the top two targets for each gun. Okay, we're going to start the double tap with the DPMS on the right hand side. Okay, we're going to go to the airsoft blowback gun on the left. Okay, let's see what we have. DPMS, airsoft blowback. There's a round that hit here. Okay. Just for the sake of things, I'm going to do the airsoft blowback one more time. Okay, the airsoft blowback's hitting low. Might be an issue with my with the red dot that I have on here. We'll give it one more try. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, one more with the DPMS. Basically hit the same hole. And one dead center. Look at that. Okay, one more with the gas blowback. Okay, so I'm going to give it to the DPMS for accuracy. Okay, so what's my overall assessment? Well, both are great guns. The DPMS is, I would say, a little more accurate, has a greater distance, does have a heavy, sluggish trigger for double taps. The magazine will empty out much faster because it's, it shoots many more rounds per second than the blowback gun does. The blowback gun is fairly accurate, as you can see on the target, so that's not a problem. The one thing about the DPMS is that it doesn't have any sling attachments on the buttstock or anywhere else on the gun, and you would have to makeshift or buy something, so that you could attach a sling to it. The blowback airsoft gun does have a sling attachment on the buttstock, and I rigged one up for the front where I just attached it to a rail with a key ring, and so we have that, which is a little different. So overall, for training purposes, I like the airsoft blowback gun. I don't really need incredible distance. The firing rate is more simulated to what you would get, say, if you were bump firing a real AR-15, and or double tapping. It's a little more accurate. The trigger's lighter, has a less pull. I don't know what the pounds are on it. I would say that the DPMS probably has about a 8-pound trigger, if not more. That's a very heavy trigger on that gun. The airsoft blowback has a very light trigger. I'd say it's probably about a 4-pounder. So yeah, there are similarities, there are differences, but as far as simulating training, I would probably go with the blowback airsoft gun. Although the DPMS is a magnificent plinking tool. If you have rodents or raccoons or things like that you want to keep away from your property, you would definitely want to use the DPMS. So again, both guns are really great. They are different types of guns, so there's no equal comparison that you can give them. Each has its own characteristic and its own utility. But for me, I prefer the blowback for training. But both guns are absolutely great. So it's a really hard call. But I still go with the blowback. But I love both guns. You will enjoy both of them. They're great, plinking tools, great training. There are differences, but they're not, I don't know, make or break kind of differences. So anyways, thanks for watching the video, and I hope this helped you in your decision to use whichever gun you choose to use. All right, thanks for watching.